part of the $6 trillion losses in days. Everyone loses. We have new evidence right now showing the backlash to Trump's flailing trade war. That backlash is broad. From the bankers and CEOs I mentioned and quoted some here at the top of the show, to political leaders in both parties. Plus this weekend's protest, which tapped into the wider anger there. You can see the sad emoji with a crashing retirement account and the failed policies that those protesters say are hurting Americans and small businesses in real time. Now, then there are still many people who, of course, avoid traditional or credentialed press. This is what CNBC looks like if you turn it on the screen here, but people may not see that kind of news coverage of the tanking markets. There are people who consume alternative, younger media, that's as a cultural matter, or what you've heard about, some of these MAGA-friendly podcasts and streaming shows, and that's a political matter. And a different set of voices rules.
One bite everybody knows rules. Avoid. 7-7. Good, solid.
Most companies have all these different requirements, and they're openly allowed to discriminate against especially heterosexual white men.
The attempt to feminize men is ongoing on the left.
Check out this rapper. Let me know your honest thoughts.
I think it's incredible. I think it's incredible.
That's from one of the streaming shows there. And a Tesla Cyber Beast retails for about $100,000. The young man you see there, Aiden Ross, would have a harder time buying one now. Now, he's supported Trump and even scored a coveted interview, but he now complains with the tariff crash that he's losing money, that he feels, quote, poor after all this, which is part of a wider backlash from MAGA podcasters and streamers. And let's be clear, many of them speak to their audience in an unfiltered, authentic way in real time. That's part of what draws their audience. Now, they have MAGA credentials. I'm showing you they have this past talk about supporting Trump's promise for the country, but many of them are now sharing with their huge audiences, which can number in the millions or tens of millions in the case of Rogan, who I showed earlier. Well, many of the ones you're about to see, they're sharing concern, panic, confusion, and even disgust over the cost of Trump's flailing trade war.
Yeah, I'm voting for Trump. Trump has put his tariffs all over the place. I've been trying to understand them. I don't. And everything's in the because of it. Donald Trump just cost me $20 million or whatever he did. Maybe don't be on the golf course.
Everyone in this room, everyone loves you. And I just want to say you're a true hero for this country. I don't know how many of you guys are invested in crypto or stocks. What the is going on with our country? Guys, why am I poor?
Because Donald Trump is the nominee against Joe Biden, I won't just vote for him. I will walk over broken glass to vote for him. His giant tariff policy that he just dropped on the market unilaterally, probably unconstitutionally.
This is a vivid demonstration of very well-known prominent Trump fans, whether they're in your feeds, as they say, or not, going through their own personal experience of the harm of these Trump economic policies as their viewers watch. And this shows how the medium is still the message. The younger viewers might see their favorite commentator reacting to the markets in real time, kind of like a popular YouTube reaction videos, or sometimes there'll be a video of someone cooking or a dog doing a trick, and then someone else reacts. That's how some people are getting these bad market updates, learning how bad things are in reality. And it is hard to dismiss these last 5 days as some, quote, snowflake old media conspiracy when very MAGA-friendly new media are live streaming their pain.
Donald Trump just cost me $20 million or whatever he did.
What the is going on with our country?
Maybe don't be on the golf course.
Guys, why am I poor?
Now, losing 20 million means you have more than 20 million. Trump's richest backers are losing even more. The tech titans from the inauguration, who had criticized Trump before, remember, who had given public warnings about exactly the type of governing failures we've been seeing now, they're down tens of billion with a B. The one who lost the most has actually been the most involved. Musk on the right losing over $100 billion in the past few months alone. It's hard to even get your head around the numbers. This theme runs from those tech elites to the MAGA podcasters I showed you to some of the most seasoned Wall Street insiders. Take the hedge fund leader and Trump backer Bill Ackman, who made a lot of news this week by bemoaning how the tariffs from Trump are leading to a self-induced economic nuclear winter. Total reversal, I should say, from his post-election vow that Trump would do nothing to interfere with America's economy.
We're stepping into, I would say, the most pro-growth, pro-business, pro-American administration I've perhaps seen in my adult lifetime, certainly. President Trump will do nothing that interferes with the success of the country, the success of the economy.
He will do nothing. That was post-election. That was just over 100 days ago. And yet, what Ackman is referring to, the quote I read you that's new, tariffs causing an economic nuclear winter. The tariffs are from the guy Ackman wanted elected. Ackman now part of this larger money-losing team who said they just didn't think Trump would tariff like he said he would. Ackman also goes further in addressing this. He claims it was actually unforeseeable that Trump would do what he said he would do on tariffs, posting, quote, "I don't think this was foreseeable. I assumed economic rationality would be paramount. My bad." All right. And yet, might be or not, it was somehow foreseeable to other people, some of whom are, of course, Trump critics or in the opposition to Trump and MAGA, some of whom are just nonpartisan individual experts or journalists who try to track what he really does and how he operates. And we have a long record now for that. Because many other people knew that it was foreseeable if Trump campaigned on pardoning convicts like he vowed, that he would, and he did. Or that he would try to use power to punish opponents like he vowed, and he's doing now. Or that he would flout court orders and not care about limits on his power from immigration to tariffs to other features of the presidency because he said he would, and he previously dodged 4 different indictments like he vowed, and he did. So, added together, just a couple quick examples, yes. It was foreseeable that President Trump, if elected, would tariff like he said he would. One might say Trump had been very clear he wanted to tariff like it's 1930. That's a kind of a Prince Smoot-Hawley reference. You know, tariff like it's 1999. I can't hear the audience in the back, but I'm sure that 1 out of 1,000 people appreciate the reference. The point is, I don't usually do Prince combined with Smoot-Hawley references. One might say that if this wasn't such a serious news night and costly news week. So, all right, we'll put Prince aside. But here's how the very serious Nobel economist Paul Krugman dismissed that kind of rhetorical wobbly defense, which I'm telling you about because this is part of our reality, and Trump's got a few years left in office. Krugman writes, these ultra-wealthy backers are shocked to discover that Trump is who he always was. While the Times' Michelle Goldberg notes many investors did delude themselves about Trump because they either leaned right or they wanted lower taxes or they just hoped the money would keep pouring in, so they looked the other way. And now the sell-off is feeding a buyer's remorse in the selective memories. And for voters who may not follow every single story, they are on to this one, and that will only continue if the markets keep tanking and the recession risk rises. Trump voters are finding all that talk of lower prices and prosperity has not been Donald Trump's stated priority. Instead, he's warning of more pain while he golfs. The markets are down on the tariffs, with warnings of a wider recession risk rising. So some were in denial that Trump would tariff exactly like he planned. Some were in denial about Trump himself, a lesson that they could ignore at their peril, given that Trump is currently saying he'll hold power past 2029, which is illegal. So if you didn't believe that he would do the pardoning, and you didn't believe he would do the tariffing, and you didn't find that foreseeable, then buckle up for a president who, while in power, is saying he's, quote, not joking, and he intends to rule past 2029. Our job here is to look at the facts together. Don't delude yourself out of those facts. Other people did see the risk and the impact. Politically, the bad news for Republicans dates to an old law of politics, popularized by President Reagan, but It's been reportedly said or in circulation from far earlier. The saying is a recession is when your neighbor loses his job. A depression is when you lose yours. In other words, how do you experience it? Well, millions of people may be personally experiencing these impacts. Whether you're rich enough to be a podcaster who says he's out millions, or you're just someone trying to get by. It's always different when it hits you. And there need not be any glee in any person's pain or loss. I say that whether they are MAGA or not MAGA, whether they are American-born citizen or immigrant, whether they're being hurt by Trump's stubborn, flailing tariffs policy and they live in this country or they live somewhere else. No glee in the pain.
Order filled.
But those podcasters are experiencing what they sometimes call in the vernacular L's, losses. Trump is making many people in America take a giant L. That's not in doubt. You can look at the markets, you can look at the numbers, you can look at your retirement account, or you can listen to MAGA podcasters who are talking about losing so much.
Order
one of them
filled.
feels, quote, poor. But as always, life is about what we do with it. What's happening, what we experience, what we might be learning. Will these losses also be lessons? A different type of L. That's the other big question about a crisis that has just begun. And a crisis that, remember, if you want to learn from, even MAGA bankers tell us is a crisis, a giant L, that is Trump inflicted.